You're listening to The Jacob Valk Show. He's breaking down the latest and greatest in sports as only he can. Follow him on Twitter @RealJacobValk. Here he is, Jacob Valk.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to another edition of the Jacob Valk Show. I am the Jacob Valk, except no imitation. Since today is the last day that I can start with baseball for the foreseeable future, I'm gonna take advantage of that. I've got to start with the Dodgers re-signing Chris Taylor to a 4-year deal worth $60 million. And this is a great move for the Dodgers. After losing Seager, they really had to bring Taylor back. You don't want to be in a situation where you've got to replace 2 infielders. I mean, in essence, the Dodgers can just put Muncy at first, Taylor at second, Turner at short, and Justin Turner at third, and they're fine. It's kind of interesting to think about it, but the Dodgers losing Corey Seager really didn't hurt them that much. Will they suffer by not having a great player like Seager? The answer is yes, but at the end of the day, this is part of the reason why they traded for Trey Turner. So they could have that insurance. So now Turner slides over to short, his natural position. Chris Taylor's going to play second. You've got Gavin Lux in a super utility role. Taylor's old role. I mean, you're set. The Dodgers are set. And $15 million per year? I'll give Taylor that. I have no problem giving Chris Taylor that contract. I mean, this guy really turned his career around when he got to the Dodgers. Obviously came up with the Mariners. Was never able to put it all together. He gets to the Dodgers and they unlock something in him. And he's turned into a really good player for him. I mean, last year he had .254 with 20 home runs and 73 RBIs. He was an all-star. First time in his career that he made the all-star team. He's a really good player. Great job by the Dodgers in bringing him back. The Yankees were linked to him on a cursory level. I mean, he would have made sense. Don't get me wrong. I just have my sights set on Correa. I understand I'm going to need to wait a while because of the lockout, but hey, Correa's still unsigned. Like I said before, it's possible that the Yankees have, handshake deals in place. They just want to wait until the new CBA is ratified before they do anything. You can understand that logic. So many things are going to change with this new CBA that I don't blame the Yankees for wanting to wait until they know the rules before they play the game. I mean, buckle up. This is going to be a bumpy ride. This is going to be a long lockout. There will be canceled games. I mean, the only baseball stories that we're going to get of any merit are going to be stories like what the biggest issues are that Rob Manfred and Tony Clark are arguing about. Maybe I'll do something special for the lockout. Maybe I won't. I mean, it's tough, right? Because I'm a fan. At the end of the day, what's fair to me may not be fair to the players. Or what's fair to me may not be fair to the owners. Like, if I think that something's fair, the owners may scream bloody murder and say, no, that's a non-starter. Now, you want to tell me that the owners are being irrational? Okay, that's possible. But at the end of the day, if it's a non-starter to them, it makes no sense to argue that point. It's very tough for outsiders to say what the right thing to put in the new CBA is. I mean, this isn't something like one issue. Like a shortened season or not, or the universal DH or not. This new CBA is going to change a ton of things. Which is why, people saying, hey, we may not have canceled games, try to be optimistic. There's so much that needs to change, and it seems like the sides are so far apart that unless they're locked in a room for a week, we're going to have a lockout that cancels games. There's just so much ground to cover. The sides seem so far apart. To paraphrase the great Betty Davis in All About Eve, fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Moving on now to the Cubs signing Marcus Stroman to a 3-year deal worth $71 million. That's just under $24 million a year. And this is a great move for the Cubs. Marcus Stroman was arguably the best starting pitcher in free agency. And you look at the Cubs, I mean, they need starting pitching desperately. They had no starting pitcher that had an ERA under 4.5. Their best pitcher was Kyle Hendricks. He went 14-7 with a 4.77 ERA. I mean, realistically, the Cubs could have added like 5 new starters, and I would have been okay with it. You want to just add Stroman? Fine. I mean, I like Stroman. Thought he made sense for the Yankees, but he didn't want to adhere to their facial hair policy or any of the expectations that come with being a Yankee. See, you've got to conduct yourself with a little bit of decorum if you're going to be a Yankee. And I'm not saying you can't be active on Twitter. I'm not saying you can't have any eccentricities, but you do need to tone it down a little bit. And at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with the Yankees wanting their players to behave with class. I mean, here's the thing. Putting on the pinstripes used to mean something. It used to be that thing that every baseball player aspired to do. What's the famous Joe DiMaggio quote? I want to thank the good Lord for making me a Yankee. Derek Jeter would slap it before every game. There's another quote, and I don't know who said it. Just putting on the uniform, I was proud. It could be Mantle. It could be DiMaggio. It could be Berra. I think it's from that era. I don't remember exactly who said it, but look, The Yankees want their players to behave with a little bit of class. Are there some players that you look the other way with that because they're so great? I mean, certainly A-Rod had his moments. But look, A-Rod ticked off a lot of Yankees fans. I mean, it's weird. The younger generation likes A-Rod. The older generation really doesn't. Like, my father is not a big A-Rod fan. I like him. I respect what he did here. 2 MVPs. Won a World Series. Did he choke in the playoffs? Yes. Was he a clutch player? No. Did he have moments where he infuriated you? Yes. But overall, I like A-Rod. But he didn't handle himself the way that you'd like a Yankee to handle himself. So, yeah, he's going to turn some people off. Namely, the older generation. And that's okay. That is a perfectly acceptable mindset. There are certain players who you really need to think about, would they be a good fit for the Yankees? And Marcus Stroman, even though he would have made sense for the Yankees, wasn't that guy. Trevor Bauer wasn't that guy. Zach Greinke wasn't that guy. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. These players are great for other teams. They come to the Yankees and just lay an egg. Cough, cough, Sonny Gray. You want to tell me that Stroman was able to handle the Mets, so he'd be able to handle the Yankees? There's a difference. There's a difference between being a New York Met and a New York Yankee. And if you need me to explain that to you, I can't help you. I mean, look, next season, the Mets will probably be better than the Yankees, but the Yankees are still the Yankees, the most successful franchise in sports history. Some of the greatest players in baseball history have played for the Yankees. There is a difference between being a Yankee and a Met. If you don't know that, I can't help you. So look, I had no problem with Stroman not being a Yankee. Seemed like no one wanted that. So he goes to the Cubs, which is an outstanding fit. Like I said, they desperately needed starting pitching. And you think about the contract that guys like Kevin Gausman and Robbie Ray got. They were in this range, the $24 million range. So the Cubs didn't overpay for Stroman at all. He makes perfect sense for them. Outstanding job by them. And again, not upset at the Yankees for not getting him. If you don't understand what it means to be a Yankee, I don't want you. Moving on now to the Padres, signing Nick Martinez to a 4-year deal worth $20 million. Technically speaking, the deal is not official, but everyone seems to be confident that Martinez will be a Padre. So I think it's fair to talk about this deal. This is incredibly risky. It's okay if you don't know the name Nick Martinez. I had to look him up. Martinez hasn't pitched in the majors since 2017. He was with the Rangers. He went 3-8 with a 5.66 ERA. After that, he went to Japan. He joined the Hokkaido Nippon Ham Fighters and really didn't do much there from 18 to 20, he didn't set the world on fire. Then last year, for the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks, Martinez was fantastic. He went 10-5 with a 1.62 ERA. So look, I don't blame a team for wanting to bring him back to the States. I don't blame Martinez for wanting to go back to the majors. This guy was born in Miami. He went to school at Fordham. You think he wants to play in Japan, or do you think he wants to play in the majors? He wants to play in the majors. So good for him for getting back stateside. This is a very easy story to get behind. I'll be rooting for him. He struggles to find a role for himself in the majors, goes to Japan, turns it around. Now he's back in the majors. Easy story to get behind. The thing is, though, from the Padres' end of things, this is incredibly risky. You're giving this guy $5 million a year off of one great year in Japan. It's not like this guy was dominating Japanese baseball for the entirety of his time there. This guy had one great year. It was last year. Now you're bringing him back to the States on a 4-year deal. It makes no sense. If you want to sign him to a 1-year deal, even a 2-year deal, I could justify that. 4 years is absurd. You want to tell me he found something new last year that will transfer over to the majors? Fine. Okay, it's very possible that he did. But it's also possible that he's going to flame out in the bigs again, and you're paying him $5 million a year for the next 4 years. Sign him to a 1 or 2 year deal. Let him prove that he's changed as a pitcher and that this wasn't just a fluky thing that was due to something that the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks did. This is a really risky bet. I don't like it. Moving on now to the Red Sox, trading Hunter Renfro to the Brewers for Jackie Bradley Jr., David Hamilton, and Alex Binelas. So let me get this straight. The Red Sox let JBJ walk in free agency. He goes to the Brewers on a 2-year deal worth $24 million. Does absolutely nothing in Milwaukee. Hits 163. And now you're trading a 30 home run hitter for him. You are trading a guy in Renfro who had his best season ever last year. He hit .259 with 31 home runs and 96 RBIs. Jackie Bradley Jr. on his best day couldn't do that. On MLB The Show, if I adjusted all the sliders and turned the difficulty down, he's not doing that. This makes literally 0 sense. Jackie Bradley Jr. is not good. He is one of the most overrated players in baseball. This is his role. He is a pinch runner / defensive replacement. That is Jackie Bradley Jr. But somehow, some way, he has deceived teams into thinking that he is a starter. He is not that guy. I've been watching him since 2013. There's nothing there. He had one good season in 2016. He made the All-Star team. Followed it up by falling off a cliff. Let me tell you, if I was a Red Sox fan, I'd be furious. The outfield just got infinitely worse. Renfro's younger. He's under team control for longer. I don't get it. This guy had a really good year. 30 home runs, almost 100 RBIs, and you're trading him for Jackie Bradley Jr. You want to tell me that the two prospects they got make it okay? No, it doesn't. Not even close. It's not like the Red Sox got Bryce Terang or Garrett Mitchell or Hedbert Perez or someone like that. They got two schmageggies that no one's ever heard of. You don't need to know anything about these prospects. As a Yankees fan, I'm really happy because the Red Sox just got a lot worse. But oh my gosh, if I was a Red Sox fan, I'd be furious. This makes 0 sense. Brewers fans had to be doing backflips last night. Okay, there's going to be a lockout, but hey, at least we pulled off an absolute coup. Getting a 30 home run hitter and getting a guy who's making $12 million off our team. The AL East is wide open. The Red Sox very easily could win that division. Now? Trading Renfro? Who was one of their best hitters last year? I don't know. I don't know how I view the Red Sox now. They are infinitely worse than they were 24 hours ago. It's just that simple. What have their moves been so far? Signing James Paxton, overpaying for him, and trading a 30 home run hitter for Jackie Bradley Jr., one of the worst players in baseball. It makes no sense. Terrible job by the Red Sox. The Brewers easily win this trade. Moving on now to the Phillies, signing Corey Knebel to a 1-year deal worth $10 million. And this is a good move. I don't have too many issues with this. Knebel had a really good year for the Dodgers. Went 4-0 with a 2.45 ERA. I understand that he got hurt a little bit, but when healthy, he was really good. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that Knebel was one of the best closers in baseball. In 2017, he was excellent. Made the All-Star team. Led the National League in games pitched. Had a 1.78 ERA and 39 saves. The year after that, he was part of one of the best bullpens in recent memory. Him, Josh Hader, Jeremy Jeffress, Dan Jennings, and Jacob Barnes, with Corbin Burns also. It didn't get any better than that. Did they have any playoff success? Not really, because it takes more than a great bullpen to win in October. But Knebel has talent. $10 million is probably an overpay, though. I mean, in the last 3 seasons, he's only pitched in 42 games. He didn't pitch at all in 19. Pitched in 15 games in 2020. Last year, only 27. He has an injury history. Make no mistake about it. But the Phillies were desperate for bullpen help. It's been an issue of theirs for a long time. I mean, they just lost Hector Neris. So now you're looking at a bullpen of Connor Brogdon, Jose Alvarado, Sam Coonrod, maybe Ranger Suarez, and Knebel. The Phillies really need to add to their bullpen more when the lockout ends. This move makes sense for the Phillies. I don't mind them overpaying for relievers since it's such a glaring need for them. I don't mind this move. It's a good signing. Moving on now to the Diamondbacks, signing Mark Melancon to a 2-year deal worth $14 million. And this is a really good move for the Diamondbacks. Melancon was one of the best relievers available in free agency. Last year for the Padres, he made the All-Star team, went 4-3 with a 2.23 ERA. He led the majors in saves with 39. He's been a really good reliever for a long time. Former Yankee. Couldn't put it together with the Yankees, put it together somewhere else. Because, of course, that's what happened. The Diamondbacks last year had probably the worst bullpen in the majors. You know how many saves all their pitchers had? 22. I understand that the Diamondbacks only won 52 games, but still, to only have 22 saves as a team, that's pathetic. I mean, think about their bullpen. Who do you feel comfortable with? Joe Mantiply, Noe Ramirez. That's probably it. The Diamondbacks are like the Phillies. They need to add relievers as soon as the lockout ends. But signing Melancon makes a ton of sense. And they're only giving him $7 million per year. I mean, technically, it's $6 million per year. There's a mutual option worth $5 million in 2024 with a $2 million buyout, so that's where the $14 million comes in. But still, this is a coup for the Diamondbacks. This makes a ton of sense. It makes them a lot better. I'm not saying they're going to make any noise next year. They won't. But you know what? At least they'll have a closer that when they're leading games late, they know can shut the door. Good job by the Diamondbacks. I admire them for not tanking, actually making an effort to get better. The Padres then replaced Melancon with Luis Garcia. They signed him to a 2-year deal worth $7 million. A solid move. It's hard for me to bang my fist on the table and say that this is a mistake. I mean, it's very possible that last year is just an aberration for Garcia. He went 1-1 with a 3.24 ERA. Before that, he really struggled. In 18 with the Phillies, he wasn't good. In 19 for the Angels, he wasn't good. In 20 for the Rangers, he wasn't good. He puts it together with the Cardinals after failing to make the Yankees. And now he's got a nice little contract. Good for him. It's tough for me to bang my fist on the table and say this is a bad move because it's $3.5 million per year, but I am skeptical of Garcia being able to keep his good pitching up. Having said that, though, the Padres just lost Melanson, so they've got to replace him somehow. So you want to sign Luis Garcia? I don't mind that. I don't know if I want him closing, but he will help the bullpen. I don't mind this move. It makes sense. It's tough to go crazy about it, but it's a solid move. Moving on now to the Twins signing Dylan Bundy to a 1-year deal worth $5 million. And look, I understand that the Twins need starting pitching. Their rotation last year was really bad. Jose Berrios was really good, but he's now a Blue Jay. Michael Pineda's a free agent. Kenta Maeda was really bad. Jay Happ is a free agent. Bailey Ober is solid, but Griffin Jax isn't. The Twins really needed starting pitching. I understand that. But Dylan Bundy? Really? Couldn't get anyone better? Couldn't get anyone better than a guy who last year went 2-9 with a 6.06 ERA? I've never been a big Dylan Bundy fan. I remember when he was with the Orioles and he was hyped up to be a really good pitching prospect, like the next Dave McNally or something like that. I never saw it. I just don't think Bundy's that good. His best year in the majors was the shortened season. That should tell you something. I understand that the Twins need an innings eater. And look, if Bundy stays healthy, okay. I guess he can count on him for 5 or 6 innings every start. You're just not going to win a lot of games with him. I mean, Bundy also got hurt last year. It's hard for me to say anything positive about this move. There had to be someone better that the Twins could get. I mean, it's $5 million. It's not the end of the world if it doesn't work out. It's just not going to make your team any better. Like I said, trade Mitch Garver to the Yankees. Moving on now to the Red Sox, bringing back Rich Hill on a 1-year deal worth $5 million. I understand that last year he was a Ray and a Met, but Hill did spend time with the Red Sox in 2010, 2011, 2012, and 2015. What's that song, I've Been Everywhere, Man? Hill's been everywhere. He's been a Red Sox, a Dodger, a Cub, a Twin, a Met, a Ray, an Athletic, an Indian, an Angel, a Yankee, and an Oriole. I don't know what the record is for most teams played with in a career. I think it's 13, somewhere around there. In any event, Hill should have tried to sign with a team that he never played with before. Come on, get that record. I think it's actually LaTroy Hawkins who has it, now that I'm thinking about it. Don't quote me on it, though. You know, it's funny. Boston fans know a lot about age just being a number. I mean, Hill's going to be 42 when the season starts. You have no idea if he's going to fall off a cliff. The thing is, though, Boston fans for a long time saw Tom Brady prove the doubters wrong. At the end of the day, even if you're on the wrong side of 40, if you're still pitching well, great. I'll bring you in. I remember when Jamie Moyer, at the age of 45, went 16-7 with a 3.71 ERA for the Phillies. He won a World Series that year. I mean, this move makes sense for the Red Sox. It really does. They needed starting pitching help. No question about that. Think about the rotation. Nathan Eovaldi, Nick Pivetta, Tanner Houck, Chris Sale, James Paxton, and Rich Hill. I understand that's 6 guys, but Paxton's going to get hurt, so you need starting pitching depth. Chris Sale, too, can get hurt. And I'm also not the biggest Pivetta fan in the world, so you want to put Pivetta in the bullpen as like a long reliever to start? If everyone stays healthy, I'm fine with that. Then when someone gets hurt, move them in the rotation, fine. This move makes a ton of sense for the Red Sox. I think Hill will have a good year for him. Last year he went 7-8 with a 3.86 ERA. How's this for a stat? Rich Hill has never finished with an ERA higher than 4 since 2013. Put some respect on his name. He's actually a good pitcher. Good job by the Red Sox. Doesn't make up for the stupidity of the Renfro trade, but it's a good signing nonetheless. Moving on now to the Orioles, signing Jordan Lyles to a 1-year deal worth $7 million. God bless his agent. Seriously, whoever's representing him with the Ballingy group, oh my God. That guy gives Scott Boras a run for his money. This guy gets $7 million. All right. More than Rich Hill. Rich Hill's a better pitcher than Jordan Lyles. Last year, Lyles went 10-13 with a 5.15 ERA. That'd be bad enough. But he actually led the American League in earned runs with 103, and he led the majors in home runs with 38. $7 million despite being one of the worst pitchers in the majors. Oh my goodness. I'm in the wrong business. It's not like this guy's a lefty. He's a righty. It's almost sad in a way for the Orioles. They want to try to get in the free agent mix. So they have to sign Jordan Lyles. And even then, drastically overpay for him. It's almost sad. You want to give him a participation trophy. At least you tried. Look, I understand that the Orioles have, no pitching. Alright, John Means is a good starter. Cole Sulser's a solid reliever. Same thing with Tyler Wells. And Dylan Tate has talent. But come on. There was no one better than Jordan Lyles that you could get? You had to overpay for Jordan Lyles to convince a starting pitcher to come to Baltimore. That should tell you something. That should tell you how bad your organization really is. It's kind of interesting. The last baseball story that I'm talking about until the lockout ends is a terrible signing by a terrible team. Ooh. Talk about going out with a whimper. There's just nothing good that's going to come from this. It's really sad, in a way. Absolutely pathetic. I'm sorry, it just is. Oh, man. Alright. Time to close this show out with some NFL Valk talk. We have an interesting Thursday night game. Cowboys-Saints. I understand that the Saints have fallen off a cliff recently. They've lost their last 4 straight, but Taysom Hill is under center. I like Taysom Hill. I think he's a fun player. I mean, maybe he can frustrate the Cowboys defense. Right? No? Cowboys defense is really good, so they're not gonna be confused by any chicanery that they see from Hill. Still, he's better than Simeon. Look, there's not much that I can tell you about the Cowboys that you don't already know. I mean, I spoke about them last week. I mean, granted, I got that game wrong. The Raiders wound up winning in overtime. Give them credit, but everything I said about the Cowboys still holds. Dak Prescott's a great quarterback. He's going to win Comeback Player of the Year. Ezekiel Elliott's really good. CeeDee Lamb's really good. Michael Gallup's really good. Amari Cooper's back. Their offensive line is great. Their defense is really good. DeMarcus Lawrence is back. Micah Parsons is great. He's going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. Jaron Kearse is really good. Anthony Brown is really good. You don't need me to tell you this about the Cowboys. They're a really good team. One of the best teams in the NFC. As for the Saints, it looks really bad for them. Okay, yes, I like Taysom Hill, but they are the walking wounded right now. For starters, Ryan Ramczyk and Teron Armstead are out. So that means that the backup tackles are going to have to deal with Lawrence and Parsons. I feel very sorry for James Hurst and Jordan Mills. Yes, they're veterans, but there's a reason that they're backups. Also, no Alvin Kamara. He's missing a fourth straight game. No Marcus Davenport. He's only played in 6 games this year. No Tano Kapasagnon. Sure, I butchered that name, but you know who I'm talking about. This is really going to be a slaughter. I mean, I'm sorry, but how did the Saints win this game? Yeah, Taysom Hill's exciting. Yeah, Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, and Malcolm Jenkins are good players, but come on. No Kamara? No starting tackles? There's no way the Saints win this game. The Cowboys are going to win this game easily. I don't care if it's in New Orleans. They're going to win this game by at least 2 touchdowns. Easily. Give me the Cowboys in a rout. Until tomorrow, I'm Jacob Valk, and always remember, if you disagree with me, you're wrong.